Alright, in our previous class we have studied about how to write a chemical equation, a chemical reaction, and how to balance it. Okay, now we will start from section 1.2, types of chemical reactions. This is the second video of standard 10 science. Fine. We have learned in class 9, previous class we have learned that during a chemical reaction atoms of one element do not change into those of another element. Okay, it means that whenever there will happen chemical reaction, okay, suppose there is oxygen, okay, in reactant and it happens some product, okay, it will not happen that oxygen will change into carbon. One type of atom will never change into another type of atom, nor do atoms disappear from the mixture or appear from elsewhere. Okay, that means the atoms whatever participate in any chemical reaction, okay, before or after the same atoms will be there. Okay, during a chemical reaction the atoms do not go anywhere, or during a chemical reaction when there happens a product, none of the new atom will come in the product. Whatever will be in the product, it will be because of the reactants. Actually, chemical reactions involve the breaking and making of bonds between atoms to produce new substances. Okay, so whatever reactants and products we see, okay, reactants converts into products, and those types of conversion happens because of there happens rearrangement of bonds among the atoms. Okay, so in actual the atoms remains the same, but the bonds rearranges and they make a new product. Okay, but when they make a new product, the atoms will remain the same. All right, you will study about these types of bond formed between atoms in chapter 3 and 4. Okay, so about bonding we will see in the next chapters. Okay, so now let us see about section 1.2.1, combination reaction. Okay, here as the word's name itself suggests, combination, that means something is being combined here. Means in reactant side you will have two or more than two compounds, and they will combine together to form a compound, a new compound, or to rearrange the bonding and make a new compound. Fine. First let us see figure 1.3, formation of slag lime by reaction of calcium oxide with water. As you can see, in this beaker water is filled, and in the beaker there are some granules of calcium oxide. Okay, and when it is mixed in the beaker, calcium oxide converts into slag lime. Okay, fine. Activity 1.4, take a small amount of calcium oxide or quicklime in a beaker. Calcium oxide, CaO, is also called as quicklime. Okay, and slowly add water to it. Okay, touch this beaker as given here in this figure. You will feel that water has become hotter. That means heat is being released, and these types of reaction where heat is being released are called as exothermic reactions. Okay, do you feel any change in temperature? Yes, the temperature here will become higher than the normal temperature of water, and this reaction is called as exothermic reactions. Here calcium oxide vigorously reacts with water and produce slag lime. Slag lime means calcium hydroxide. That means calcium oxide in solid phase, okay, reacts with water in liquid phase and converts into slag lime, that is calcium hydroxide, that is in aqueous phase. Aqueous phase, as I already have shared you in the previous video, is something in which water is present. Okay, in this reaction calcium oxide and water combine to form a single product, calcium hydroxide. So as you can see here in equation 1.13 we have two reactants, and these two reactants combine together to form only one product. Okay, so this type of reactions are called as combination reaction. Okay, such a reaction in which a single product is formed from two or more reactants is known as a combination reaction. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is the meaning of combination reaction. Very well, and as the name itself suggests. Fine. Do you know a solution of slag lime produced by the reaction 1.13 is used for whitewashing walls. Okay, the whitewash of our walls are done by mixing of calcium oxide stones in water, and the mixture is poured in a vessel and being rubbed on the walls for giving it white dazzling color. Then calcium hydroxide reacts with the carbon dioxide in air to form a thin layer of calcium carbonate on the walls. What really happens there is calcium hydroxide, which is poured over the walls, when it reacts with the carbon dioxide present in the air, it converts into a thin layer of calcium carbonate, okay, CaCO3 in solid form. Calcium carbonate is formed after 2 to 3 days of whitewashing and gives a shiny finish to the walls. As you might have seen, when new buildings are being made, okay, being built, first they do the whitewash with white color, okay, in Tamil it is called as sunambu. Okay, what happens there is when calcium oxide is mixed with water, it makes calcium hydroxide, and when that calcium hydroxide is poured over the walls or rubbed over the walls, it converts into calcium carbonate when it comes in contact with atmospheric carbon dioxide. Okay, but it takes a long time, approximately 2 to 3 days. It is interesting to note that chemical formula of marble is also CaCO3. So you can say that while whitewashing, you are putting a layer of marble on your walls. Okay, so as you can see here, calcium hydroxide in aqueous form plus carbon dioxide gaseous form, which comes from the atmosphere. Okay, it converts into solid calcium carbonate, and here as it is given plus water in liquid form. This water, okay, is being absorbed by the air there, okay, and it vaporizes. Let us discuss some more examples of combination reactions. Burning of coal. Okay, whenever the word burning comes, that means something is being reacted with oxygen. Okay, coal is the allotrope of carbon. Okay, so here carbon in solid form reacts with oxygen in gaseous forms and make carbon dioxide in gaseous form. So here two reactants are making only one product. So this is an example of combination reaction. Formation of water from hydrogen gas and oxygen gas. Okay, when hydrogen and oxygen comes in contact with each other and at very high voltage, they combine together to form water molecule. Okay, so here two gases combine together and it makes only one type of compound, that is in liquid form. Okay, so here because we have only one product, it is also an example of combination reaction. In simple language, we can say that when two or more substances, okay, elements or compounds, so it may be element or it may be compound, combine to form a single product, the reactions are called combination reactions. Okay, combination means to combine or in combined form. Okay, it is very easy way to remember the things. Okay, in activity 1.4, we also observe that a large amount of heat is evolved. Okay, as we have seen, when calcium oxide has reacted with water and calcium hydroxide was made, okay, water solution has become hotter. Okay, so there huge amount of heat is evolved, and as I have said earlier, these types of reactions are called as exothermic reactions. Okay, this makes the reaction mixture warm. Okay, the temperature increases there. Okay, reactions in which heat is released along with the formation of products are called exothermic reactions. Exo means to coming out and thermic means heat. Okay, so here heat is coming out. In any reaction where heat is coming out is called an exothermic reaction, and in any other type of reaction where heat goes in, that means the product mixture or the product become colder than earlier. Okay, those types of reactions are called as endothermic reactions. Alright, another example of exothermic reactions are like this: burning of natural gas. When methane in gaseous form combines with atmospheric oxygen, okay, it makes carbon dioxide and water, okay, both in gaseous form. Whenever we have H2O and written gas there, that means water vapor. Okay, so here as you can see, methane and atmospheric air has combined together and has made carbon dioxide and water. So this is also an example of exothermic reaction because huge amount of heat comes out from this reaction. This is how we cook our food in kitchen, where in our cylinders methane gas is filled. Do you know that respiration is also an exothermic process? When we respire, okay, our body becomes warmer, okay, and a lot of other phenomenon happens inside our body, and so it is called an exothermic process. Okay, about respiration and exothermic process we will study more in biology. Okay, we all know that we need energy to stay alive. Okay, without energy we can't stay alive, and energy comes from fuel, and for us food is our fuel. We get this energy from the food we eat. During digestion, food is broken down into simpler substances, okay, like rice, potatoes and bread contain carbohydrates. When we eat them, when we chew them, and during our digestion process, they are broken down into glucose, and further this glucose reacts with oxygen and gives huge amount of energy with water and carbon dioxide also. Okay, so as you can see here, glucose C6H12O6 in aqueous form, which reacts with oxygen in aqueous form, which we inhale, it converts into carbon dioxide in aqueous form plus water in liquid form, plus huge amount of energy is being produced there, and this energy makes us alive, keep us alive, okay, and give us potential to do work. Okay, so this is example 1.18. Third example, the decomposition of vegetable matter into compost is also an example of exothermic reaction. Okay, because whenever organic matter decomposes, okay, huge amount of energy releases there. Okay, the products become hot. Identify the type of reaction taking place in activity 1.1 where heat is given out along with the formation of a single product. So let us come to activity 1.1 once again. Let us move upward. Where is that? Where is that? Okay, here burning of magnesium even in air, where we had got magnesium oxide as a residue here, because then magnesium even burns with air, huge amount of light and heat is produced. So this is also an example of exothermic reaction. Okay, so now you have understood very well what is combination reaction, then what is exothermic reaction, what is endothermic reaction. About endothermic reaction, I only have given you the examples, we haven't seen in the book. Okay, then in our previous video we have also studied about how to balance the chemical reaction. Okay, now moving forward, that is decomposition reaction. Decomposition means breaking down. Okay, that means one or more than one product decomposes into one or more than one reactants decomposes or breaks down into two or more than two products. Okay, section 1.2.2 decomposition reaction. Okay, as you can see in this figure 1.4, correct way of heating the boiling tube containing crystals of ferrous sulfate and of smelling the odor is like this. Okay, so here we have a burner, we have a boiling tube, and in that boiling tube we have ferrous sulfate crystals. Okay, and do not point the mouth of boiling tube at your neighbors or yourself because it may be hazardous, it may make the person faint. Okay, then here you can see white gas gently coming out from this opening of the tube. Now coming to the activity 1.5, take about 2 ferrous sulfate crystals in a dry boiling tube. Okay, means in absence of air we have to heat it. Note the color of ferrous sulfate crystals. Okay, heat the boiling tube over the flame of a burner or a spirit lamp as shown in figure 1.4. Observe the color of the crystal after heating. Okay, here there will happen color change. Okay, and in first video we have seen that in which situation we can say that a chemical reaction has happened, and there was a condition that whenever color changes, that means a chemical reaction has happened. Have you noticed that the green color of the ferrous sulfate crystals has changed? You can also smell the characteristic odor of burning sulfur. Okay, what do we see here is ferrous sulfate crystals. Okay, it is given here in solid form. Okay, when it is heated, it makes ferric oxide Fe2O3 in solid phase plus sulfur dioxide in gaseous phase plus sulfur trioxide in gaseous phase. In this reaction, you can observe that a single reactant breaks down into three different products, okay, or three different simpler products. Okay, so this type of reactions are called as decomposition reaction. Ferrous sulfate, whose formula is FeSO4 7H2O, lose water when heated and the color of crystal changes. Okay, it is then decomposed to form ferric oxide Fe2O3. Okay, sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide SO3, as we have seen in equation 1.19. okay, ferric oxide is a solid while sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide are gases. So here, as you can see, we have only one reactant, and when it was heated, it has converted or disintegrated into three different products. So this is an example of decomposition reaction. Decomposition of calcium carbonate, okay, to calcium oxide and carbon dioxide on heating is an important decomposition reaction used in various industries. Okay, as just now in previous slide we have seen that when we do the whitewashing of our walls, their calcium hydroxide reacts with the atmospheric carbon dioxide and converts into calcium carbonate. Okay, and that is also marble. Calcium oxide is called lime or quicklime. Okay, it has many uses. One is in manufacture of cement. Okay, cement is used these days for building constructions and a lot of other purposes. Okay, where cement is a mixture of a lot of different material, in which calcium oxide is one of them. When a decomposition reaction is carried out by heating, it is called thermal decomposition. Means whenever any reactant breaks down into two or more than two products because of heat, it is called as thermal decomposition, because here decomposition has happened because of heat. As you can see here, limestone, calcium carbonate plus heat makes calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. Okay, limestone earlier was in solid phase. When it was heated, it has made calcium oxide in solid state plus carbon dioxide in gaseous state. Okay, so you can say that the whitewashing of the buildings, okay, the color of the whitewashing fades away in succession of many years. Why does that happen? It happens because of sun's rays. When the sun's rays falls on the walls, it becomes hot, and because of that heat, their calcium carbonate converts into calcium oxide, okay, which falls down, and carbon dioxide gas, which goes away in gaseous form. Another example of thermal decomposition reaction is given in activity 1.6. Okay, so let us see what is given in activity 1.6. Take about 2 gram lead nitrate powder in a boiling tube. As you can see here, lead nitrate powder is taken in the boiling tube. That means it is non-aqueous. Hold the boiling tube with a pair of tongs and heat it over a flame as shown in this figure 1.5. Okay, what do you observe here? Okay, so let us see the things which happens in this activity as given in the book. You will observe that the emission of brown fumes, okay, as you can see, brown colored fume comes out in this reaction. Okay, and these are the nitrogen dioxide NO2. The reaction takes place is like this: PbNO3 whole 2 solid form, that is lead nitrate, plus heat makes lead oxide plus nitrogen dioxide plus oxygen. Okay, here because this decomposition reaction has happened because of applying heat, so this type of decomposition reaction, as said earlier, is called as thermal decomposition reaction. Okay, here the prefixes are given: 2 for this molecule of lead nitrate, then 4 for this molecule of nitrogen oxide. Okay, is for balancing the chemical reaction. Okay, as we have seen in our previous video. Fine, let us perform some more decomposition reactions as given in activity 1.7 and 1.8. Okay, electrolysis of water, it is very interesting to see. I also have done this when I was of your age. Okay, what we do here is given in this activity. Okay, as given in this figure, what are the things needed? 6-volt battery, switch, okay, then 2 electrodes, graphite rod, water, then a test tube, okay, then plastic mug, and there, because of this reaction, water will decompose into hydrogen and oxygen gas. Fine, coming to the theory of activity 1.7. Take a plastic mug, drill 2 holes at its base and fit rubber stoppers in these holes so that water do not leak out from that place. Okay, insert carbon electrodes in these rubber stoppers as given in figure 1.6 so that current can pass to the rubber from the cell, from the battery. Okay, connect these electrodes to a 6-volt battery easily available in market. Fill the mug with water such that the electrodes are immersed. Okay, immersed fully so that current can pass through the water. Add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid to the water. Okay, for clear visualization. Take 2 test tubes filled with water and invert them over the 2 carbon electrodes. Okay, carbon in its pure form is a good conductor of electricity. Okay, like graphite. Graphite is a form of carbon and it is a good conductor of electricity. Fill the mug with water such that the electrodes are immersed and add few drops of dilute sulfuric acid and water. Fine. Take 2 test tubes filled with water and invert them over 2 carbon electrodes. Switch on the current and leave the apparatus undisturbed for some time. What you will see there is some bubbles will come out. Okay, in both the test tubes. You will observe the formation of bubbles in both test tubes in near the both electrodes. These bubbles are actually the bubbles of hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, these bubbles displace water in the test tube. Is the volume of gas collected the same in both the test tubes? Okay, means here as you can see in one the amount of gas collected is higher and in the other test tube the amount of gas collected is lesser in both these two. Okay, that means any one of hydrogen or oxygen the amount is lesser and the other is higher. Once the test tube are filled with respective gases, remove them carefully. Test these gases one by one by bringing a burning candle close to the mouth of the test tubes. Okay, but you have to take here precaution. This must be performed in careful observation of a teacher. Okay, what happens in each case and which gas is present in the test tube. Okay, the test tube which helps the candle to burn, okay, there oxygen is present, and the test tube in which starts the burning with pop sound, okay, in that test tube hydrogen gas was filled. Okay, now let us see activity 1.8. What are the things given here? We have a china dish, we have silver chloride, and direct sunlight is falling over this silver chloride. Take about 2 grams silver chloride in a china dish, AgCl. What is its color? Place this china dish in sunlight for some time. Okay, observe the color of silver chloride after some time. The color will change. Okay, change of color is also a type of chemical reaction as we have seen in our previous video. Alright, you will see that white silver chloride turns grayish in sunlight. Okay, the color will change. This happens due to decomposition of silver chloride into silver and chlorine by light. So as you can see here, silver chloride in solid form, when sunlight falls on it, it converts into silver in solid plus chlorine in gaseous form. Okay, so here again one reactant is converted into 2 products with the help of sunlight. This is an example of thermal decomposition reaction. Okay, and as the color changes, that means it is a perfect example of chemical reaction. Okay, silver bromide also behaves in some another way, like AgBr gives silver plus bromine gas. Okay, this is also an example of thermal decomposition reaction. Okay, the above reaction are used in black and white photography. Okay, this one silver bromide are earlier used in photography. Now these days we have digital camera where none of these things are used, but even though for professional photography where still we use camera rolls, there silver bromide rolls are used. Okay, what form of energy is causing these decomposition reactions? Okay, it is the heat energy, okay, and also the light energy. We have seen the decomposition reactions require energy either in the form of heat, light or electricity for breaking down the reactants. Okay, reactions in which energy is absorbed are known as endothermic reactions. Okay, those reactions in which energy is absorbed is called as endothermic reactions. And what is the test of endothermic reaction? How can you find that a reaction has happened and that is endothermic? Okay, you will find out that the temperature of product is lesser than that of reactants. Okay, so if the products become cooler than the normal temperature than the surrounding, it is an example of endothermic reaction, because in that situation it will start absorbing energy from its surrounding. Okay, so in next video we will study from displacement reaction, section 1.2.3. okay, and this is going to be very interesting. So till my next video, take care of yourself. Bye bye.